I like that one a lot. Look at that. Oh, hi. Sorry, Ben Wootton. 10 questions? Sounds interesting. Ben Wootton, 10 questions. He's got a bit over the top of the kisses, but friendly guy. Let's see him here. Okay, let's pull these out. Doing this randomly? Yeah? Okay. Well, what are the odds? Question number 1 apparently. What's your favourite Ben Wootton photo? Oh, I never really thought about that. But are these questions all about Ben Wootton? Is that how it works? What's your favourite thing about Ben Wootton? This is not how it's supposed to work, is it? I've seen these videos and they're not all about him. These must be just... We'll try again. Let's see what's going on. Surely. Here we go. Here's a question. Why photography? Well, if I'm going to be serious, I used to be into making videos. I got a gig working for a motorbike team racing in the British Superbikes, and I did lots of videography for them. And while hanging around the pit lane, I saw the photographers and got to see the work they did. Kind of went from there, piqued my interest. Moved from the format of video to stills. But I imagine, like a lot of people, in lockdown, they were looking for things to do. That's when I picked up my camera and started taking pictures of my local area. An amazing experience to get out at sunrise, down by the beach. Sights and sounds are always different, but what they always are is fulfilling. Feel blessed. Simple as that. You get to hang out with cool people as well. Get to meet lots of cool people. What would be the worst song to wake up to every day? Probably that really annoying song by the Boo Radleys. Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. It's so in your face, like someone's clearly having a bad day and they need to be left alone and he's just screaming at them. Maybe they just want to sleep. Sometimes we just want to stay in bed. Yeah, Boo Radleys. They're probably really nice people. Where can you find me on social media? Well, that's a nice question to ask. Where I do post is Instagram. You can find me on there. Colin Menniss. Sometimes it's spelt a bit differently. There's a story behind that, but maybe for another time. Or you can Google hashtag man versus camera, and I tag all my photos with that. It spells out the idea that I have this constant struggle with technology, me and the camera. It won't do what I want it to do. But yeah, you'll find me on Instagram. Give us a follow. Cereal before milk or milk before cereal. I've never heard of that before. I don't even know if that's a thing. For tea, milk before the tea, tea before the milk. And for me, it's always milk before the tea, and that is scientifically proven to be the best. I won't have anyone say anything different, but no, I definitely put the cereal in the bowl first and then pour on the milk. You put the milk in and then you pour in cereal into it, it's going to be splashing. That's just craziness. Is that what you do, Ben? You put the milk in first? If you do, you've got issues. That's not right. It's cereal first, then milk. Got me thinking now. What camera do you use? I shoot mainly on my Sony A7R4A, and I've owned all sorts of camera brands in the past, Panasonics, Canons, Nikons, and I carry a small compact around as well, which is a Sony RX100 Mark 1. It's still going strong. Brilliant little camera. But yeah, my Sony A7R4A, it's got lots of flexibility when it comes to crop. My catchphrase should be crop, crop, and crop again. Let you into a little secret there. There's no sweeties or anything. We might get some treats for doing this. Why can't you hum while your nose is plugged? Is this aimed at me personally? Why can't you hum, Colin, while your nose is plugged? Everyone else can. I think this could be aimed at everyone, yeah? Why can't anyone hum while your nose is plugged? The simple answer is you have to breathe to talk and you have to breathe to make a sound. I can't believe you don't know this stuff, Ben. I mean, it's not complicated, is it? I'd be happy with that answer. Interesting. Would I rather eat a whole block of butter or drink a bottle of maple syrup? Now, I'm not a massive fan of maple syrup. Don't see where it belongs. On bacon? Yeah, that's about it for me. So this is kind of a reference, I think, to pancakes. People like me put lashings and lashings of hot melted butter on their pancakes. The simple answer to that is I would rather eat a whole block of butter every day, all day. I'm a dairy goodness. The worst bit of kit I own. Well, I've got a filter that's supposed to reduce light pollution in astrophotography. It's got like a tint to it. I find it does nothing other than just stops down your lens and makes your pictures even more rubbish. And it sits in a drawer in the office doing nothing. That's probably the worst bit of kit I own. Well, what is your favourite lens? Well, my favourite lens is probably always the latest lens I own. Sony 14mm GM 1.4, I think they might be, yeah. And I've been out shooting with that and it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, that's probably my new favourite lens at the moment. But my go-to lens is this lens here. It's the Sony 24 to 105. It's a workhorse, does everything. I've even done Astro on it. It doesn't complain. F4. This is fun, I'm enjoying this. Surely that's not the last one, is it? Looks like it could be. Yeah, the last one maybe. Okay, whose work has influenced you most? Wow, good question. For landscape, Mads Peter Iversen, Danish guy, does stunning romantic landscapes, beautiful. And then I'm going to list a few people because it's unfair just to list one person, it's too hard. It's like trying to say what your favourite film is. There's a guy called Ed Allen, who I follow on Instagram. Again, stunning work in like landscape, trees, seascapes, just everything. The way he captures an image is just enthralling. Daniel Cordan is a very saturated style, beautifully romantic, and does great tutorial videos. There's just so many. There's a couple of local photographers I follow, Vince Miles and his wife, Caroline Miles Winter, I think her name is. They're both local to where I am, South Kent coast. They do all the local stuff. Both just have an amazing vision for light and shade. When they produce the photographs, the contrast gives them the depth. Stunning. So I'd give a shout out to them as well. I think that's 10 questions. Flew by, I can't believe it. These are all the questions, yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks again. 10 questions with Ben Wootton. Go check him out. Oh hi, Ben again is it? Yeah. You did send me 11 questions. Just two number 4s. Tricky one that. But one of those questions was, what's my favourite photo that I've taken, I presume. It's quite easy because the photo is actually titled The Perfect Moment, and it was taken at sunrise at a place called Fairfield. There's a church down there, it sits on the marsh, Romney Marsh, and it's beautiful. You can shoot it at night, in the middle of the day, sunrise, sunset, etc. And I was blessed with the most amazing sky. I was pushing the boundaries of my lens and camera at the time and struggling because I was just really only starting out in landscape photography, shooting in aperture priority mode. I'd watched some swans arrive and they sat at the end of the dike for ages, and I wondered if they were ever going to come down into my shot, and I didn't want to move or recompose. It'd take me ages to squeeze this church into my frame. And I just prayed and hoped and wished they would come wandering down the dike. And they did. And the whole family came down, mum, dad, and all the little cygnets, and they drifted into my picture, and I was stood frozen, trying not to scare them away. And where it is not technically perfect, I have a very strong emotional attachment to it because of the excitement I was feeling at the time. And it always gives me great pleasure to look at that picture. I hope that helps, Ben, and learn to count. 10 questions, quite important. You don't send 11, confuses people, and I am easily confused. Goodbye.